Previously on parts 1 and 2 of our Jeep Grand Cherokee project. We bought a completely stock 1994 Grand Cherokee and immediately set to work adding a 3.5-inch lift and 31-inch tires. We then focused on getting the vehicle trail ready as we added a custom roof rack, hood louvers, lights all the way around, and skid plates. Now, on part 3, we'll continue the build as we focus on improving reliability of the Jeep. We'll replace some major components, including the transfer case and computer, as we work to make the Jeep more dependable out on the trails. The early years of the Grand Cherokee models, including all of the V8 editions, feature the 249 transfer case. The 249 is full-time four-wheel drive and is normally a pretty good case, except for the fact that it is notorious for having the viscous coupler go out every so often. The clicking and popping on tight turns and the case slapping during acceleration meant both the viscous coupler and chain were going bad on my 249. Rather than blowing $1,000 on fixing this, I decided to buy a newer and better transfer case, the 242. The 242 has more drive modes than the 249, including two-wheel drive and part-time four-wheel drive, and doesn't have a viscous coupler to go bad. It was the perfect choice. Thanks to the guys at LKQ, we got our hands on a relatively good shape 242 out of a 95 Grand Cherokee. Now this is where you'll need to spend some time and do research on getting the right transfer case. Get the input shaft lengths and spline count from your current transfer case and find the correct donor vehicle for this project. Make sure to get all the details right, and this should be an easy bolt-in, bolt-out swap.
There it comes. Feel it. There it comes. All right, straight up. Fingers. Okay, pretty good. Okay.
Because we didn't get things quite right, we ended up having to use the input shafts from the old transfer case in the new transfer case, which meant pulling the case apart.
That'll work.
After a long night in the garage and getting fluid everywhere, we managed to get the 242 into the Jeep. Even though the drive shafts were supposed to swap right in, we ended up playing it safe and extending the rear by about 2 inches. Now that the transfer case was good, the next issue to address was the random stalling that occurred every so often. After chasing the issue for over a year, we finally decided to replace the PCM, the brain and central computer to all the electrical components of the Jeep. Hunting down a new computer is basically impossible, so we went with a reman one from the dealer, hoping that it would be an easy fix.
Pushing on the gas does nothing. What's that item? Oh yeah, you just plug it in, drive it in. Take wheel. No.
The only problem, I don't have a 6-cylinder.
Took this computer back out, took it down to the dealership. They said, okay, maybe you have a bad computer. So we ordered in a new one, and that came in today, and discovered that this computer, as well as the one we just got in today, were actually for the 4-liter. So we have the proper computer coming in next week, which explains why this computer ran like absolute garbage in the Jeep. So apparently they look exactly the same. They got the same plug and everything, and it just turns out that the guy at the Dodge dealer didn't know it was a V8 and put the wrong part number in.
After swapping the replacement computer for one that should have worked with my V8, we tried again. But the problem got worse.
Man, it's all over the place now, look at that.
The second replacement computer ended up having a bad voltage regulator, and after chasing the random electrical issues by installing a new alternator, it was now time to move on to yet another computer. Finally, on computer number 3, and according to Dodge, the last remanned ZJ computer in stock in the country, we ended up solving all of our problems. But before we can end, what video would be complete without more lights? So we added a pair of rear LED pods, aka the Tailgater Special, to round off this edition of our Jeep Grand Cherokee Project. The Jeep isn't perfect, but with a new transfer case and a new computer, it is certainly a little more dependable out on the trail. Make sure to check the links and info in the description for all the details on the project up to this point. Until next time, we'll see you out on the trail.